pre-tertiary teacher unions have launched a 13-page document titled Demands to the Political Parties on Education Delivery in Ghana for their consideration into their election 2024 manifesto. The document, signed by the General Secretary of NAT, Thomas Musa, the President of NAGRAT, Angel Kabono, and the President of the Coalition of Teachers, Ken Awudu Ali, outlines their demand for incorporation into the manifestos of political parties. These demands are classified into 5 thematic areas, which include the free senior high school, the TES policy, and teacher deployment. Joining us to talk more about this very important subject, of course, is Angel Kabono, the President of NAGRAT. Mr. Kabono, it's a pleasure to have you here. Good afternoon. Mr. Kabono, if you can unmute for me so we can have a conversation. Good afternoon. Welcome to the Pulse. Right. So we'll bring in Mr. Angel Kabono, President of NAGRAT. But this is what it is. So enrollment in senior high school, according to the President, has moved from 813,000 to 1.3 million in 2016-2017 academic year to 1.3 million in the 2022-2023 academic year. This is enrollment in senior high schools under the free senior high school program. So more people having access to secondary education. Total cost incurred by parents, first year boarding student is gone up from 3,074. Even though there is in place the free senior high school, it looks like parents are even spending more to keep their walls in the boarding house. So it's risen from 3,074 in 2017-18 academic year all the way to 6,477 in the 2022-23 academic year. And this is from the Joy News Research Desk. Extra costs incurred by parents for these students. Parents of these students reported spending an average of 4,400 annually. That's a year. And they spend money on transportation, which is 50%, breakfast, 40%, and of course, books, 10%. So parents are also complementing government effort in ensuring that the free senior high school program is sustained. And this is how much, according to our research, parents are spending on an annual basis 4,400, and 50% of it goes into transportation, breakfast 40%, of course, 10% for books as well. And so this is coming from the implementation of free senior high school led to government absorbing about 23% of secondary education costs, leaving parents responsible for the remaining 77%. Only 5.3 billion Ghana cedis out of the 7.6 billion allocated was expended on the policy, averaging 1.6 billion per year between 2017-18 academic year and of course 2021-22 academic year. Parties. Now let me bring in Mr. Angel Kabono, who is the President of NAGRAT. Mr. Kabono, it's a pleasure to have you here on the Pulse.
Thank you very much and good afternoon.
Yes, so 5 thematic areas: the view of quality education, school enrollment, free senior high school TES policy, teacher factor, and teacher deployment. Perhaps we can start from the free teachers, because I'm sure that you monitored the President's delivery of the State of the Nation address, where he mentioned, for example, the benefits the country has derived from the free teachers program, but also admitted that there are challenges that must be addressed. Perhaps we can start from the free teachers. What is your position on the free teachers going forward?
Yes, in principle, we agree that the free SHS is a good policy, but the policy is bedeviled with challenges, very serious challenges, which politically people continue to sweep under the carpet. And that we think that a regular and a constant review of every policy is the basis upon which that policy can be strengthened going forward. So we are calling for the government to, or whichever government that comes to power, to organize a stakeholders conference on the free SHS so that we can identify the weak pillars, try and find solution to them for the good of our children in school. That is the position that we hold. We also, in as much as we see the numbers going up,
right,
we are also interested in looking at the quality of the products that are churned out. So we should not only look at the quantity or the quantitative aspect, we should also look at the qualitative aspect of our free SHS.
So, Mr. Kabono, do you have any suggestions on the table apart from the ones you spoke about? Somebody is of the view that those who want to go to the boarding house, they should be made to pay, and that it should only affect those who are day students. Even that data we have suggests that parents are supporting through transportation, provision of breakfast, and others.
Yes, that is the hypocrisy of the politicization that we see in this country, where instead of looking at the issues from the factual point of view, we cloud it with political innuendos. The fact of the matter is that, yes, the policy is in operation, but parents are still contributing in diverse ways to ensure that their children stay in school and stay in school safe and healthy. Again, when government doles out money from the state coffers to support education, it means that monies that could have gone elsewhere is what is being taken to support education. So what type of mix can we have so as to be able to, and please, education in Ghana is not only secondary education.
Right.
Primary basic education, we have the secondary education, then we have tertiary education. And today, drive through Accra, our public basic schools are a very sad sight to see. When you go all the way to the peri-urban areas, you have a situation where the government is reneged on its fundamental responsibility of providing very good basic primary education that will be attractive to average Ghanaians. So the only option in a lot of communities is the business-oriented private schools that are coming up. And because the parents cannot allow their children to wade in the community without going to school, they are compelled to use their meager salaries to pay for these private schools. So one of the lucrative businesses you get in this country is the opening of a basic school in this country.
Right.
And when basic school students pass their BEC, then they come and go to the public secondary schools. It tells you that there is a major disconnect from the public basic school function and the senior high school function. And government cannot renege its responsibility to the public basic schools and make and feast on already established senior high schools.
Yesterday, I spoke to the Ghana Medical Association ahead of the presentation of the State of the Nation address. The General Secretary made it clear that they are almost at the tail end of negotiation for a new conditions of service with government. Among the conditions, or among the things that they are demanding from government, is that they are made to retire on their salary. They are also demanding waiver on importation of vehicles by the members of the Ghana Medical Association, and also general improvement in their conditions of service, incentive for those who are set posting to rural areas. This 13-page document that you launched today, in terms of improving the conditions of service of the teacher, what is the position of the unions on this matter?
Well, we have stated that government ensures that the lifespan of collective agreements be respected, and ensure that negotiations take place and take place at the right time. It is when you get to the negotiation table that we can unveil the details and the nitty-gritties of it. We don't believe that we should unveil the details of what we are demanding from government to the public before we go and demand it. Secondly, look, retiring on people's salaries. Some public services have been granted that largesse by state.
Right.
like we have been saying, when governments take populist decisions of granting certain categories of workers, for example, the judiciary retire on their salaries, the senior officers of the police service retire on their salaries, the senior officers in the Ghana Armed Forces retire on their salaries. So if somebody also comes to demand that give us that largesse that you've given to other people, then it is you, government, who's caused it. You understand? So it's a good thing. Everybody would love to retire on his salary because what you take home from Senate is absolutely nothing to write home about. So for me, we have indicated in this document that government should respect and adhere strictly to the tenets of collective agreements that we have reached with them.
Right. Mr. Kabon, there's also teacher factor and teacher deployment. Tell me more about this.
Well, teacher deployment in this country is a very challenging situation. When you come to Accra or the capital cities in this country, there is a semblance, you have the feeling as if we have enough teachers in this country. You have to move to the rural areas, the villages, and the communities in the regions, and you go to some school, and it is a very sad story to tell, where there are no teachers in the schools, or even if there is a teacher, it is the headmaster with one or two teachers manning that whole school. Again, you need to respect the internationally accepted class size. Yes, you cannot have an unending class size where you go into some classrooms and you see 70 pupils with one teacher. What type of knowledge do you expect that teacher to impact within the 30 or 40 minutes that is being given to that teacher? So for us, let's respect international norms, because we are all part of international organizations and institutions, and there are standards that Ghana is signed to, to ensure that we have very conducive environment that contributes an aid to teaching and learning in the various institutions.
So for example, how many kids must be in a class?
In a basic school, the number of kids should not be more than 35 in a class. And in the senior high school, the number of students in a class should not be more than 35. This is an international practice. Everybody knows it. Most of them attend international conferences. When they come, we don't speak the truth in this country because we are afraid that when we speak the truth, it may have financial consequences. But you see, if the government is giving free education, right, which itself does have a financial toll on the budget and economy of this country, we should look at the whole thing holistically and go the full hog.
That means expanding infrastructure to accommodate more students, but limiting them in the various classrooms.
Expanding infrastructure in the schools. Try to build more schools closer to the communities where the students live. It is offensive to the rights of children to travel kilometers upon kilometers to access education. The educational institutions should be close to the communities where the students live, so that there will be a more closer relationship between the school and the community, and the child will not be stressed in accessing education.
You also indicated TES policy. What do you expect to see?
Policy is already in place.
Yes.
As we have TES secretariat in Ghana. We would have preferred a holistic secondary education, so that when you go to Wesley Girls, you see students doing general arts, science, technical vocation, business. So you have a more comprehensive education called secondary education. Be that as it is may, what the government is implementing now is a separation of what I would describe as the traditional secondary school from the TES. But don't forget that we also have other sectechs in this country. So you know Suhum sectech, you know Koforodia sectech,
Takrady sectech.
In Takrady, even in Fansipim School offers technical education as part of program in Fansipim School. It is our wish that this policy is expanded and that every senior high school should do all the programs that we can call secondary program that will prepare them for tertiary education. If we all sit down and have a conversation and we see that this type of approach is the best approach, then we go it as a nation to address some of these shortfalls in senior high schools that we find ourselves.
In the second cycle institutions, Mr. Kabonu, some of your members, headmasters, they've been suspended, some have been dismissed for some times, doing things that was initially designed to bring some comfort to the students. But government says that no, you are not supposed to do so. Do you have a provision to protect your members in this manifesto that you want the political parties to consider?
We don't intend to protect our members wrongly, or we intend to encourage wrongdoing in the system. What we will indicate is that the headmaster, headmistress, the teacher are all working under what we call the conditions of service and the code of conduct. These two documents prescribe disciplinary measures that a person is taken through when the person offends rules and regulations of his establishment.
Right.
Our core is that we ensure that the teachers, headmaster, headmistress, the teachers who have offended the rules be taken through the laid down disciplinary procedures of the Ghana Education Service. So we are not supporting wrongdoing. We just want that the laid down procedures be properly followed so as not to tamper with the rights of any worker.
So what is next now? Are you going to meet with the political parties individually and get them to commit to this pact?
Yes, a letter has been sent to all the political parties that our doors are open. They should arrange with us a day and a date where we can meet them and have a discussion. My brother, mind you, we are not in support of what happened in the past, where a politician stands on a political platform and out of the cast makes a political promise. A political promise that have not been subjected to intelligent and intellectual research of their party and create the avenues where they can tell us where they are raising resources from. But somebody stands on a platform, makes a flowery populist statement, and then the crowd shouts in joy, only for them to come into power and start dancing using semantics to browbeat the people into submission.
Right.
That type of promise should should end forthwith. Any promise made by any presidential candidate should be based on thoughtful presentation within their manifestos.
All right.
So that when you make a promise, we should be able to refer to your manifesto and see that you have made that statement in the manifesto, and the manifesto is come up with concrete and demonstrable evidence of how you can find solution to the promise that you have made. It should not be the one who makes more promises wins the election. When they do that, we'll come at them, and we expect the media to also come at them because they've deceived us with promises that you and I know they could not fulfill, and today they've not fulfilled it. So that's easy lose talk to see the end. And
I guess to say safe, just stay with the teachers, 13-page document if you want to do anything to improve the educational sector in this country, instead of making promises you cannot fulfill.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Thank you very much. Mr. Angel Kabonu is the president of NAGRAT, and he's been sharing with us details of the 13-page document they launched today to get the political parties to sign on to. This is the teachers' own manifesto they are giving to the political parties to implement in the event that they are in power. Well,